Hi, it's John Glynn, and in this tutorial I'm going to be looking at converting this photograph into a black and white image and toning it using Photoshop Elements 20, but this will work in any version of Photoshop. And this is from a picture I've already created using a vignette, but so there is a tutorial on creating a vignette, but you don't have to have a vignette to do this tutorial. It's just that it looks quite nice with the vignette, so that's why I'm using this particular image. But as you can see, I've got my background switched off, and I've created a copy of the background image in my layers panel. And on top of that, I had created in an earlier tutorial layer 1, which is actually the vignette. Okay, I'll just call that vignette so there's no mistake what it is. So there we are, vignette layer, and my background copy layer, and my background. I switched off the background, the original picture, and I've just duplicated it. Now what I'm going to do is convert this background copy to a black and white image. You could copy this again. You don't have to leave it on. You could leave that as a copy, but there's no particular advantage in doing so at this stage because we already have a background copy anywhere. The original background is already there, so there's no reason to make another copy of this one. What I'm going to do is go up to my options for creating a new fill or adjustment layer, and that's that funny little circle with this blue and white in this version of Photoshop Elements, and just click it. I'm using a PC and a mouse, so it's just the left mouse key, clicking that, and I'm going to go to Gradient Map as my choice, and it immediately makes a black and white image. If I click inside this grey area, or grey to white if you like, just click it once with the left mouse key, it opens up further options for me to work with this particular photograph. Okay, you can move it about. They are all movable, these things. You'll notice on the far left hand side there's a black square, on the far right hand side there's a white square, and there's a funny little dot in the middle. Add to clip a stop, and that's called a stop, one of these sort of colour stops. They're black and white because we're dealing with a black and white photo. Okay, so if I move them around, if I drag this one from the left up, it will make the picture brighter. If I drag this one down from the right down, it will make the picture darker. And I also have the choice of creating a stop in the middle, which allows me to work on mid-tones, as long as I click on it. If I don't, it can become quite complicated. Okay, so I can move that around to create mid-tones, and I can move the white about, and you can see it moves the middle one as well, and I can just move that up a bit more, or I can move it down to the right a bit more, and so I can just play around with getting the tonal range of my black and white picture the way I wish it to be. Okay, up to a point at least. So I can play around with that, just getting a black and a white that I'd like, to add a bit of contrast to the picture. So it's a way of creating a black and white picture in Photoshop Elements, and it's editable. Because it's on a separate layer, it means I can come back and change this as often as I like. Once I'm happy with the general look, I just say OK, and now I've got my black and white picture with maybe more contrast and a bit more drama to it. What I'm now wanting to do is give it a tonal range to make it look a bit oldie fashioned. Okay, so to do that, again, I'm going to go back up into my create a new fill and adjustment layer, and this time I'm going to go and use photo filter, and these give me color settings. It's orange warming filter comes up first. It's under filters, a filter 85, you get LBA 81, 80s. These were filters which related to traditional photography in old film days, so they may have a similar colour. You can click on them, and you've got the choice then of also changing the density of the colour. So if you wanted to make it orangier, you just up the density, down the density if you wish to keep it sort of neutral, whatever you're going to do with it. And you've got one down here which is called Sepia, and again you can up the density because it's very mild at the moment, but if you feel that you want a stronger sepia looking image, you can up the density of it until you get to the sort of oranginess or brownness that you're looking for. Blue cooling filters would be something that you might have used for cyanotypes, which were very popular in their day as well, making quite a blue image. And you do have other colours as well that you may want to use for any particular purpose. It's a matter of trying them out. You've also got the option of just using colour and being given the colour palette to choose any colour you wish. Say OK, and again you can change the density of that colour. Okay, and you can go back and use the filter if you wish at any time. So there's no, you're not fixed to using one or the other, you can jump between them. Okay, so if you're into trying to make it look a little bit oldie worldy with a black and white image, then it's certainly one option of doing that, and can look quite effective and gives you quite a lot of control over the final look of the picture with an old picture here, or a picture of an old building actually, because it's a fairly new picture with sepia toning and black and white. And obviously if you turn off the this particular level or layer, which is a photo filter, you're just back to a normal black and white picture. Okay, so do have a go, and you still have choices of the colour one below that as well. So there's a lot of options there. So within all of these, you've got your filters, you've got your colour pictures, and so nothing's being destroyed. That's the big thing with this particular approach. So do have a look at all these little messages that keep on popping up on my on my stuff there. But to have a look at the options in the layers, it's quite powerful, and you can play around to your heart's content and come back to them later and readjust them if need be. Okay, have a go. Thanks for watching.